What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JP's on the keys, and it's too easy about this video today. I feel like this channel is gonna go in a history-based, like history and comedy-based like direction. I can still do the UK. I'm still trying to fit in the grind, but the thing is, man, every time I do a video, it's getting blocked in somebody's country where most of the people who are watching are going to be at, or it just gets copyrighted just out of nowhere. It'll be cool for a few months, and then a year later it'll get copyrighted. But it's whatever, bro. I'm not tripping over that. So we're doing this, continuing the Julius Caesar campaign. I know a lot of you liked the videos when I watched them. I'm going to be watching Shaun of the Dead. I'm gonna watch that tomorrow. I'm going to put that on Daily Motion tomorrow. So you're going to get, on, let's say Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. You're going to get a main channel vid. You're going to get a gaming channel vid. You're going to get a Daily Motion upload. So you're going to get 3 pieces of content tomorrow. I need y'all support on every one of them. So without further ado, let's just jump into the Caesar and Britannia and Germania documentary. Shout out Kings and Generals. But yeah, man, let's get it.
Gaius Julius Caesar's campaign in Gaul was a resounding success, with many decisive victories allowing him to conquer vast territory, making him rich and powerful. However, the political situation both in Rome and Gaul, coupled with Caesar's ambition, didn't allow him to sit idle, and the general would become the first Roman to invade Germania and Britannia. This video is sponsored by Imperator Rome, the newest historical grand strategy game from Paradox Interactive. Build a glorious empire out of blood and marble. Take the reins of power over any of hundreds of ancient nations, including Rome and Carthage, as you slowly expand to dominate the classical Mediterranean, Europe, and India. Expand trade, build roads, and command armies on the most detailed map ever made for a Paradox game. But keep an eye on your generals and governors. Some of them will increase their own power and plunge your land into civil war. Enjoy the panoply and majesty of the world of Caesar and Hannibal in Imperator Rome, coming April 25th. You can support our channel by buying the game via the link in the description.
Okay.
By 56 BC, Caesar had subjugated the majority of Gaul, either through conquest or political alliances, and was beginning to look for new opportunities to expand Rome's influence. But not all the Gallic tribes were taking kindly to Roman rule. One such tribe was the Veneti, located in modern Brittany. Despite signing a peace treaty with Caesar the year before, they reneged on this promise and captured a few Roman officers. As a largely seafaring nation, the Veneti were confident that they would be able to put their faith in their navy and force Caesar to make concessions. However, Caesar spent no time trying to negotiate, instead seeing the act as a direct declaration of war, and marched on the tribe.
That man Caesar said, F your negotiations. He said, F your negotiations. You can negotiate this army and these ships. He said, forget your negotiate. Negotiate? Like Soulja Boy. Drake? Negotiate? That ain't even in my vocabulary.
Initially, he found little success. Due to their large navy, the Veneti were able to effectively hop from town to town, moving entire populaces and their belongings, denying the Romans a pitched battle or siege. Standard Roman tactics proved ineffective therefore, and it was clear that, in order to win, Caesar had to defeat the navy. With no navy on hand, he ordered that a fleet be built in order to take on the Veneti navy. But compared to the Roman ships, which were designed for the Mediterranean, the Veneti ships, designed for the Atlantic, were much stronger and taller, and the Romans found them impossible to ram or board. It was only through the ingenuity of one of his legates, Decimus Junius Brutus Albinus, who suggested that they use billhooks to cut down the sails and cripple the Veneti boats, that Caesar was able to defeat their navy. With this issue sorted, it now seemed that Caesar would be able to move on to new conquests.
This little thing, take that over. None too
Once
big.
again though, his plans were put on hold in 55 BC, when yet another roaming German horde, composed of Usipetes and Tenchtheri, began threatening the Rhine border. These tribes previously rivaled the Suebi, but were now fleeing in huge numbers, Caesar giving their total number, including civilians, as 430,000. They had already slaughtered the Menapii and stolen their ships in order to cross the river, and were now pouring into Gaul. Upon hearing about this, Caesar was once again compelled to act, as he was worried that the Gauls might join the Germans in an attempt to oust the Romans.
Right.
Some Gallic tribes in the Rhine Valley had indeed sent emissaries to the Germans, providing them with food and intelligence, encouraging them to move deeper into Gaul. Caesar gathered a council of Gallic chiefs, and convinced them to provide more cavalry for him to confront the Germans. This served two purposes. Firstly, Rome's cavalry had always been lacking, and the Gauls were renowned horsemen, and so filled a crucial role in the army. And secondly, because cavalry was composed largely of nobles or wealthy persons, they would act as hostages, ensuring good behaviour. He then gathered 5 of his legions and headed to the Rhine.
Yo, that man Julius Caesar smart. That man's smart. That man is smart. Like I like how he thinks multiple steps ahead. Like in other situation, dang, Veneti got a strong navy. Hey, build a navy. Build a navy. Oh, boom. We got people coming in from the west. We don't have a cavalry. Boom. I need a cavalry right now.
It is important to note that while Caesar portrayed this as a great victory against a marauding Germanic horde, this is not how others saw it. To Caesar's political rivals in Rome, Caesar had broken the armistice with the Germans by antagonizing them with his cavalry, imprisoned diplomats, which was effectively a declaration of war, and then carried out a massacre, including civilians. Caesar needed something to distract the Senate and win the minds of the people, so he decided to boost his popularity by doing what no Roman general had ever done before: crossing the Rhine. The Germanic tribe Ubii offered its ships, hoping that the Romans would assist in their war against the Suebi. Caesar, however, deemed this unworthy of the Roman people, and instead decided to build a bridge across the Rhine between modern Andernach and Neuwied. It was an engineering marvel. The legion's engineers used winches to act as pile drivers, driving stakes deep into the river, and constructed the 140 to 400 meter by 7 to 9 meter bridge in just 10 days.
What?
Caesar found the lands beyond the Rhine almost deserted. Taken aback by the Romans' speed and their feat of engineering, the Germanic tribes in the area had retreated deep into the Germanic forests, where they had amassed a significant army. However, Caesar had no desire to be caught in a prolonged campaign in foreign territory against a notoriously dangerous enemy. He spent just 18 days on the German side of the Rhine, burning villages and crop fields before returning and dismantling the bridge. The campaign was a proof, not only to the Germans but also to Caesar's rivals in Rome, that he could overcome anything and do as he pleased. Caesar's next ambition, Britain, was once again a perfect propaganda target. The island was on the edge of the known world and rumoured to be a land of monsters and vast riches. It had remained effectively untouched, and bringing it into Rome's sphere of influence would be a significant achievement.
Right, discover new land?
According to Caesar, the Britons had provided some of the Gallic tribes with the resources needed to make war. While this was a weak casus belli, Caesar was, by now, effectively doing what he wanted with little oversight. he began gathering intel from the Gallic merchants and sent a small reconnaissance force to the island, whilst he mustered the ships he used against the Veneti and prepared to cross with the 7th and 10th Legion. He set sail from modern Calais and safely made it across with most of his army, but his cavalry had been delayed by bad weather. The Romans saw the Britons had amassed along the White Cliffs of Dover in huge numbers, with infantry, cavalry and chariots, and with every warrior painted in fierce blue war paint. Caesar moved further down the coast in order to find a better place to land, but was shadowed by the Britons' cavalry and chariots, who were easily able to keep pace with the fleet.
That man went on the coast, he was like, okay, I see y'all got a whole troop lined up. I'm gonna see if I can slide over somewhere else. And then the British, they was like, nah, we gonna tail you the whole way there. You ain't going nowhere. Mr. Caesar, you ain't going nowhere. Wherever you go, that's where we gonna be. I like that.
When the Romans finally found a suitable beach, Caesar arranged his transport vessels into a long line with his warships on his flanks and ordered his men to disembark. As the transport vessels had deep keels, however, they were still some way from the shore, and the legions were forced to wade in waist-deep in water to try and reach the beach.
Exposed.
The Britons saw their opportunity and attacked, firing missiles into the ranks of the legionnaires as they struggled through the water, weighed down by their armour. The Briton cavalry charged in and out of the Romans, the height advantage of being on horseback allowing them to fight much more effectively than the Romans stuck in the water. The legionaries were taking significant casualties, and seeing this, Caesar moved his shallower-keeled warships up the flanks so that his missile troops and ballistae could fire into the Britons' sides. Still, the legions were wavering, with some men not even being willing to get off their transports. It was not until an eagle-bearer of the 10th Legion leapt into the water and waded towards the Britons that the legions rallied and rejoined the battle in earnest. The fighting was fierce and contested, with the Romans gathering to their nearest standards to try and maintain some form of cohesion, while Caesar used rowing boats to ferry men from the transports to areas where the Roman front line looked to be in danger. Finally, the Romans were able to push through the shallows onto the beach, where their organisation and heavy armour could come into play, at which point the Britons broke off and retreated.
Okay.
Caesar, without any cavalry, had no choice but to let them escape. We don't know the numbers of dead on either side, but being a contested landing, it's likely that the Roman losses were greater. Following the battle, the Romans established a camp on the beach, and the Britons sent delegates to sue for peace, probably to assess the Romans' purpose in the area.
Right.
They were on home ground and could afford to wait to see what Caesar's next move would be, whereas Caesar, with no supply line, would be pressured to make the first move. Caesar accepted the peace, and the Britons sent a small number of hostages, promising more later. The cavalry that had been waylaid did try and cross once again to meet Caesar, but were caught in a storm and forced to turn back. This same storm damaged the ships that Caesar had anchored off the beach, demoralizing the Romans, who could no longer escape the island.
So, but you gotta think, taking the peace agreement was probably the best thing you could have done if you were Caesar, because you're in an unknown land with an enemy that almost overpowered you. Like they know the lay of the land, they know the terrain, they know the hiding spots, they know everything. Like it's no point for you to try to come in here and just fire blind, just like he did when he crossed the Rhine and was like, you know what? I've seen all I want to see. I want to go back on the other side. And the thing is, he destroys the bridge, so there's no temptation of even going back there. So he definitely, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta know when to concede. You know what I'm saying?
Salvaging what materials he could from the most damaged ships, Caesar began repairs. He sent one legion at a time to forage for food, whilst the others defended the camp on the beach. However, whilst one of the legions was out foraging, the camp watch reported seeing dust on the horizon moving their way. This, combined with the lack of the promised extra hostages, was enough to alert Caesar to what was happening. He gathered 2 cohorts and marched quickly to the legion's location.
What does your video sound like? Go to artlist.io and get the best music and sound effects for your video.
Whilst foraging, the legion had been ambushed. Scattered and focused on collecting food, the Britons had been able to kill a substantial number of them in the initial attack. The legion had managed to regain some level of discipline, snatching up their weapons, but they were surrounded by the British cavalry and chariots.
In the circle.
British charioteers were trained to throw missiles from their chariots and then dismount to fight on foot, before hopping back on the chariot when the fighting got too hard in order to regroup. This gave them the staying power of infantry and mobility of cavalry, a tactic Caesar admired, but was now taking a heavy toll on the surrounded legion.
Bro, you gotta think about how hard it is to shoot, to throw an arrow off of a chariot, because you gotta think, you gotta keep the chariot steady. Then you got the reins. You're trying to control the horse, because you don't know what direction the horse is really gonna go, regardless of how much you train the horse. The horse is still a wild animal and still has its own mind, so it can just go wherever. Then you gotta take the wherewithal to take a spear, a javelin, which is probably about 6 feet long, and you just try to control the horse, take a javelin, like that's ultimate supreme warfare machinery, like that training on point. Like I would want to see that played out in on a live action movie type thing. That'd be hard.
Upon Caesar's arrival with his cohorts in formation, the cavalry and chariots retreated. The Britons had no desire to fight heavy infantry in formation in a pitched battle without their own infantry support, and allowed the legion to withdraw to camp with Caesar. However, bolstered by this success, the Britons amassed their full force of infantry, cavalry and chariots and marched on the camp. Caesar drew out his legions to meet them. So far, he had been fighting in difficult circumstances, in water, in ambushes, against a highly mobile enemy, but this was an ideal situation for the Romans, where their formations and discipline could truly make a difference. The Britons charged, but in these conditions, the Romans had a significant advantage. Whilst the chariots and cavalry had proved highly effective against small groups of Roman infantry, with the legions in a cohesive line, they now had little effect. The Britons quickly caught on to this fact and disengaged, their chariots and cavalry leaving the battlefield. The Roman infantry was now able to surge forward and catch a portion of the Briton infantry, routing it completely. The Britons were excellent at hit-and-run tactics and ambushes, but in set-piece battles the Romans were far superior. Once again, the Britons sent a peace delegation, and Caesar, knowing that his options were limited and that he did not have enough resources to carry out a full campaign, accepted and then hastily withdrew from the island during the night. However, on his way back to Gaul, 2 ships were blown off course in a storm. 300 Romans were stranded and surrounded by a Belgae tribe, the Morini, who Caesar had only recently subjugated and were keen for spoils and revenge. The Romans were assailed from all sides with missiles in hit-and-run attacks against their small group. Caesar caught wind of this and gathered as much cavalry as he could to personally lead them to the men's rescue, managing to ride down the Gauls and save the Romans with only minimal casualties. Labienus would later be sent into the Belgae territory to winter there and reinforce Roman rule in the area. Neither the invasion of Britain nor this foray into Belgae territory were significant military achievements. However, they show why Caesar was so loved by his men. He was brave, achieving things no Roman had ever done before. He was calm under pressure, and most importantly, he would lead from the front and showed that he cared for his soldiers and was prepared to risk his life to save them. The Britain campaign had not achieved much for the Romans, but it did provide Caesar with crucial knowledge about the Britons' military, the climate, and the level of preparation that he would need to succeed, lessons he would learn from for next year. Moreover, the Roman public and Senate were amazed by his feat of crossing the Channel into unknown territories, and a full 20 days of Thanksgiving were declared to recognize his achievement. The history of the Celtic people is often forgotten when talking about Roman conquest, so we decided to remedy this situation by recording a new podcast talking about the historical to our channel and have pressed the...
Alright. Man, this stuff is fun, man. I like watching this stuff. This is fun. Like, it's just nice. It's just cool to know about stuff that you normally wouldn't know about. This is fun. I like learning about stuff. Anyway, thank you again for watching. Shout out to Kings and Generals. Subscribe to their channel. Definitely show them some love. But anyway, please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Also, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Please turn on them post notifications, bro. Turn on them post notifications. But anyway, thank you again. Please have a great day. Stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.